Holy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Adam.
And I'm Gary.
And we're two dudes
smoking cigars.
Oh, wow. No, Gary, no. We're two dudes picking, Gary. Two dudes picking. All right. What's up, everybody? This is Two Dudes Picking. Appreciate y'all coming out tonight. Gary looks relaxed. He's got his cigar ready and going. And we're going to hit up our podcast this evening. What's up, Gary? It's been a couple of weeks since we last did a podcast. What you been up to, man?
What's up, Adam? Yeah, not much, man. Just the normal stuff. Work on the Jeep. Try to get ready for hunting season to start here because we're only a couple of weeks out or so from it. So just trying to gear up and hit some of the great outdoors a little bit. What about you?
Well, same old. I saw you put a new bumper on your Jeep, man. How much did that cost you?
Ooh, too much. No, just kidding. It's readily researchable to anybody. It was a little over $6, but
it looked good.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of think it's. I like to think that the front end of my Jeep is a lot more deer-proof now because after hitting a deer in my wife's Acura and totaling the Acura back in January, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I said, I've been living out here for about 30 years and I've never hit a deer. And I smacked the mess out of that deer at 65 on the highway. So it's it was one of those things where I said, I love my Jeep too much to watch it die a death like that, and it deserves better. If it's going to end, it should be in a fireball. People always say, if when I die, I want to be buried in my Jeep because it's never seen a hole it can't get out of.
Oh,
it was it was one of those things where I wanted it, and luckily enough, I sell enough on eBay to pay for things like that, and
that is awesome.
The family budget. Yeah, so
you had a good week on eBay.
Yeah, about here and there. It was one of those things where I had a pretty good sell, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. But just kind of, a couple of things here, a couple of things there. I think that whenever it comes to listing your stuff, and being active on eBay and being successful, the amount of effort you put in is exactly what you get back out, like anything in life. And to be honest, I just haven't put a ton of effort into listing items. I've been so preoccupied with 3 million other things that it's just been a little bit on the back burner. I say if I can set something to the back burner, that's what it is. But I actually got a bunch of pictures taken, and I actually did it from my phone, so I'll be listing those via the eBay mobile app, which is definitely not as easy as doing it on your computer. But what? I'll just get used to it.
I'm gonna beg to differ with you on that, man.
Maybe
I've taken like all my pictures now for the past maybe all summer have been on my phone so that I could list from the phone, and I've been able to list so much faster. I could be in the living room while Paige is reading a book, and I'm sitting right beside her on the couch, and just whatever's on TV, and I'm just listing on the couch. It's so much. To me, it's faster.
And I like the convenience of that. I'll definitely give it that. The thing I don't like, and maybe it's just the flow that I'm doing it through, or maybe there's an option I'm not clicking or something, but whenever I go to add pictures, it makes me go, like, it only shows me my 12 most recent pictures I've taken at the bottom. So I have to go into more pictures. Then I have to go to my gallery. Then I have to go find the folder. And I have to do that for every single picture that I list on there. Am I doing it wrong?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The first picture, long press it.
Okay.
Long press it. It will select it, and then it'll allow you to multi-select.
Okay. It'd be nice if they told you that on the app.
I made that mistake myself a couple of times in the beginning.
I was going to say, do you know how much extra bathroom time it took to list those pictures, or to list those items because of that?
Don't grunt so hard.
I know, right? Your finger will slip off the long press.
Excellent.
Oh man. All right. Well, I learned something. I hope everybody else out there did too.
Yeah, long press when it's not your first 12 and you have to go to gallery. Long press on the first one, and it'll then allow you to multi-select. That's on Android. I've got an Android phone. I don't know really if that's an option, how it works on iPhone. throw us a comment if it's different, because honestly, I'd like to know if it's different so that I'm not wrong next time I tell an iPhone user.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean the different operating systems may have different features to them. So yeah,
well,
I
things come to I like a lot of stuff. We're getting into the phone stuff now, but on the eBay app, they send. I call them the guinea pigs. The iPhone users are the guinea pigs because, like on eBay, they'll send it out to them first because they're more like that's their biggest demographic in user case, I bet. But you remember when they rolled out the where the feature where it will cut out the item and give it a white background?
Yeah.
We didn't get it on Android for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
What's so funny is like I really haven't used the mobile app that much, and so I just learned about that, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of handy, So it's funny because I've been doing the white background forever as far as my triboard goes. So most of it doesn't really enhance it. It kind of takes out the shadows, so it makes it look kind of weird.
Right.
But that's about it. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, outside of that, I like the process, because once you know how to list, then it's easy after that.
I bet you next time you go to load something and pick the pictures, it's going to be so much faster for you now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've noticed a big slowdown. I think it started in like mid-August. Like my July, we talked about it last time. July was best month I'd ever had. August barely got me over the $1,000 mark, and honestly, this year's been great. You get out of it what you put into it. Because of the quarantine, I've been able to put a lot more into it. I just think that I don't know if it's the stimulus checks or the stimulus money running out. I don't know if it's going back to school, but something, people aren't out there buying as much, at least not from me, but I'm listing just as much as I have for the past 5 or 6 months. Anybody in the chat had a different experience, let me know.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's some values of it. So
yeah, I did hit I did make the break the $1,000 mark though, that marks 7 months in a row for me, which is really good.
Nice.
And that's net, not gross, but that's net.
Oh wow.
And so I was happy about that. September, let's see how it goes. I'm still listing. I'm still going to Goodwill, yard sales. I will admit I put myself at a limit. If I don't sell or net at least $100 in a week, I won't go out. I won't go out to Goodwill the next week.
That could be a good way to prevent yourself from overloading yourself, getting too much.
And I don't want to spend what I'm making and it be flat. That's really what I'm thinking about. But I've had some big purchases here recently too. Unfortunately, something happened with my dog earlier this week. He's okay.
Oh, that's
but
good.
I thought that he could have been hurt. And so I took him to the vet. He had to get an x-ray, and x-rays cost money.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had a pipe bust in the front yard. That cost a lot of money.
In the summertime?
Yeah.
Man.
I really don't know what it was. I really don't know what it was. I think, honestly, I got a rod-in lawnmower from my father-in-law. And I never had a rod-in lawnmower before. And I straddle the meter. So I think that where it busted is in between the meter and the water sprinklers. And I think that just the pressure of the weight of the lawnmower, maybe the weight of the lawnmower, something. Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm guessing.
That's possible.
I'm not a plumber.
Yeah, it'd be it seems very unusual to bust a pipe in summer because obviously you don't have freezing temperatures or anything like that to bust a pipe.
It was at a joint, so
maybe it's just maybe it just wore out.
Weakest point, right?
Yeah, that's right. Maybe it just wore out. So never know, but at least you got it fixed.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah,
several $100s later.
Oh, I understand. I found out how much sprinkler systems use as far as water goes on my water bill.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. I have to adjust because we obviously just had the house built, and so when they laid all the sod down and stuff like that, they set the sprinkler to whatever the setting was to keep the grass growing. But then the builder pays that water bill. Because
until you move in.
So move in, but I never adjusted the sprinkler setup. And so it kept going, and it would do it like every 3 days for an hour, dude.
Yeah. I'm wow.
Like, yeah.
Well, that's typical for a new yard.
Yeah, but well, the thing is though, is that my yard's been this way for now 3 months. That's the problem. Is that have you ever used 38,000 gallons of water in a month? I
I
did.
have ran sprinkler heads for an
Yeah.
hour for 3 days a week before,
Yeah.
and I cut it down to 1 day a week, and then I finally cut it off completely.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
lesson learned. Anyway, we can get
let's
off
talk
water and
about
utilities. Let's talk
something
about eBay stuff.
eBay. I have got I'm going to share my screen for a minute. What we're going to talk about is eBay managed payments. And I've been going through, I got put on eBay managed payments August 18th. Wow, that's kind of tiny. You can't really see all that, can you?
Yeah. I mean, it's small on my end, to be honest. But I don't know if it's bigger in the full version. So yeah, that's readable right there to me.
There you go. So I got put on eBay managed payments, and this is an email that came out earlier this week talking about additional information and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But eBay managed payments, just for anybody possibly who doesn't know, eBay managed payments is eBay basically taking over the transaction part of the checkout process and taking it away from PayPal. It used to be all PayPal, or it still is for several people. I think, Gary, I don't think you've been swept over, have you?
No, I haven't. It still runs through PayPal.
Okay, so ultimately, you have to hook up a bank account now with your eBay account, because they don't really do anything with PayPal anymore. You can still use PayPal as a buyer if that's how you want to pay, but
Right.
eBay, now that they've taken over everything, they have cut the cord ultimately with PayPal from a transactional perspective. So everything now for me rolls into a bank account. And I wanted to talk tonight about I've been on it for 2 weeks. I just want to talk about the 2 weeks of woes and highs and lows, or pros and cons, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And then if you got any questions, just let me know, since I know you're not on it. We got the mass picker. Let's see what he says real quick. Mass picker. I sold a little over $3,500 in August. That's awesome, dude. I have averaged over $3,000 a month the past 4 months. That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Man, no wonder you were wondering how to change out your bank account from PayPal.
I'll bet, right?
Oh, man. That's excellent, though, man. I hope the last half of your year goes good as well. I know who Mass Picker is, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because of his name. I mean, let's keep the anonymity there.
Yeah, we're not going to unmask anybody.
Nah.
This isn't going to lead to a congressional hearing. So
no way.
Yeah, that's right.
But so now, if you hook up a bank account to eBay, now you get your money from eBay into your bank account. But it takes a little while. Have you ever, I know you've tried to move money from one account to another account, or maybe from your bank account to PayPal, right?
Right.
It takes a couple of days for processing that change, for the transaction movement, the whatever it is. And that's basically downside number one. Although you can set your payouts to be daily, you can also set them out to be weekly or even monthly, I think, if you want to. But even if you set it to a daily period, the money you made that day isn't what you see the next day. It's the money you made about 5 days ago. And so it takes about 3 to 5 bank processing days for you to see it. And they'll send you an email that says, we just sent you your payout for this much money. Well, I don't, like yesterday, I'm making this up. Yesterday, I got a payout notification for $95. It's today. I haven't seen it. I probably won't see it tomorrow either. I might see it, being that it's Labor Day weekend. I don't know if I'll see it until Monday or Tuesday, right?
Right.
And so there's downfall number one, the delay in the payout. Downfall number two, and this is custom and not to everybody, but I'll say it because it's something for me. I still use PayPal as my main money bank account. I had to open a different bank account under Capital One to hook up to eBay, right?
Right.
But now that money's going into Capital One. It's not going into PayPal. So on my side, if you're still using PayPal as your main go-to money source, you've got to wait for the money now to move from bank account to PayPal, which takes another 3 to 5 days.
It seems so much less efficient. I mean, even PayPal introduced a thing where you could do, I mean, basically instant transfer. I think it was for like 25-cent fee, as long as you verified your bank account and et cetera, it was basically an instant transfer. And that was handy. So
I'll have to check. And so maybe the people in the watching know the difference, but I can't remember if it's if there's a percentage fee now or a quarter, or I know there used to be like a 25-cent payment fee, but I think it's like a 2% or 2.5% fee now.
Interesting.
So, for it to be an instant transfer. I'd have to look it up. Maybe I can do it while we're on the phone, while we're on the podcast. But ultimately, those are the biggest woes I've had so far. Now, one of the biggest pros is the fact that I don't have to look forward to a huge 10% invoice at the end of a great sales month.
Yeah, it takes it out to my understanding, it takes it out of the money that it sends to you. So basically, it's charging you the fee up front. But if you have a refund or a return,
we'll get to that. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah,
we're gonna have a whole 10-minute conversation about that.
Okay, all right.
But you're exactly right. So if you bought something from me and paid me $100 free shipping, they're gonna take out 10%, so $10, and then only pay me out $90. 90%.
Okay.
So I'll never see the full 100 because eBay go ahead and keeps the 10% that I owe them up front. They also go ahead and take out any promotional percentages you might have used to sell that item.
Okay.
Like if you did like 3% promotion, they'll take that out up front too.
Gotcha.
So what you end up seeing is the remaining 90%. Also, your shipping labels will come out of the holding money that's in eBay, not out of PayPal. So when I buy labels now, it's just deducted from my payout. You follow me?
I do. Yeah, it's basically like it's almost using it. Let me sort of put this into a way I can understand. So, you sell an item for $20, right?
Yeah.
So that $20 thing, it's almost like, think of it like an account. You've got $20 in that account. What they're going to do is anything that you deduct out of that account, whether it be the final value fee, whether it be the shipping cost or whatnot, is going to be deducted out of that, and then whatever remains gets sent to you.
Yes,
that's what I understand it as. Promotional things, whatever that final balance is going to get sent to you.
That's right. Don't let me forget. I need to tell you the changes in the percentage. But I got this question from Christy Tooley. First off, Christy, thanks for coming by the podcast and watching us tonight. What is the threshold of monthly sales before eBay requires you to drop PayPal for transactions? That's an interesting question.
I don't know the answer to that because I'm still on PayPal, so I haven't sold that much in volume. By the way, hey Christy, how's it going?
Christy, I think that I think because I have a store, an eBay store, which I pay $20 a month for, is why I was more or less in the first wave of moving me over to managed payments. And once they move you over to managed payments, that's when they require you to drop PayPal. Okay. So you can, like I said before, if you're a buyer, you can still pay with PayPal, but if you're a seller, PayPal and you're on managed payments, you no longer use PayPal for transactions. So I'm pretty sure, to answer your question, Christy, it's as soon as you move over to managed payments, there's not necessarily a threshold. In fact, you could go out now and find it on their website and register. Look up on Google, look up eBay managed payments, and it'll take you to a registration page where you could sign up to right now. In fact, my brother-in-law, he took it upon himself to go out there and sign up for managed payments, and he still hasn't been contacted yet. Now, I'm going to guess, I think it was about a month ago when he signed up, but he hasn't actually been contacted yet. All right, we got a first-time visitor. Thanks so much for dropping by, Vulture the Dumpster Diver. I really do appreciate you dropping by. And if you like the content and you like what we're talking about, don't forget to subscribe, and you'll see more later. Christy says, "Hey, 007." So she had a second question.
She knows. She knows.
There you go. She does know. Second question: does this only apply if you have any? Okay, I'm sorry. I answered your question before I saw it. Yes, it only applies if you. Well, like I said, if you have an eBay store, you got picked for the first wave, but you can go out and register now, and then they'll pick you for the future wave.
And I think as a part-time seller, they may be migrating this away from PayPal in phases. And if you're a part-time seller, like kind of how I am, you may be sort of part of the last group that may get migrated because you're not selling in enough volume to where they're even worried about, the amount of money flowing through PayPal. They may even have a cutoff date with PayPal. I don't know where they're going to move everybody at some point. I'll tell you what, and the next time we do another live show, this is going to be the cliffhanger. We'll see if we can get an answer to that. Maybe there's an answer that somebody at eBay can give us for that.
Okay. So have you actually gone out and registered to be moved over to managed payments yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm still doing the old school way that I just knew. At this point, I'm lucky to take pictures.
Well, I can tell you, if you haven't registered, then they're not going to move you. But eventually,
there may be a forced move.
And they'll say you have to move. They did that to me, and I think it's because I had an eBay store.
Yeah, probably
back in May, they said if you don't register by July 19th, you won't be able to sell anymore until you register.
Yeah.
Okay, Mass Picker. Sounds like eBay smartened up and created themselves a new income stream by getting their fees earlier and then holding payouts. I wonder what their investment team looks like now. Yeah, that's a good point. You're probably talking about how the amount of time you hold on to the money in their bank, and if their bank is investing the money they're holding, are they getting a little bit of extra pennies on top of it all, right? So that's not a bad way to look at it too, from an investment perspective, from eBay's point of view.
I say maybe they're cutting out the middleman. They even though it's I think technically a separate entity, it was always apparently controlled. I may be wrong, and I don't keep up with the financial part of what eBay does on their side. But if they can cut out the middleman to save themselves money in operating or whatever, and then charge what they want for people to use the platform and the pass-through financial system, then they're going to do it. I mean, I'm actually surprised it's taken this long.
So let me tell you about a little bit of change in the percentages. So you probably remember, well, you don't have to, you're still on it. PayPal still has their percentage for the transaction fee, right?
Yep.
I don't remember the exacts, but it's somewhere around 2.8, 2.85, 2.9%, right?
I think it depends on what type of transactions and all that. Whenever I go
4 maybe.
Whenever I go to the DMV and I pay with a credit card, they run all their transactions through PayPal. I live in Alabama, everybody, and so yeah, that's right. So they always say we're going to add a 2.2%, charge, and it's because of PayPal, and they always have to disclose that to you. So yeah.
So okay, so but they also have a plus 30 cents. Right?
They do have that. Yeah. It's like this percentage plus this many cents. Yeah.
Yes. So eBay is an additional 2.9% plus the 30 cents.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's not just a flat 10% anymore. It's like 12.9% plus 30 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading some time ago that PayPal actually had a breakdown. If it was less than, I really don't remember the breakdown. If it was less than $25, it was 25 cents. And if it's more than $25, it's 30 cents.
Yeah.
And I know that still exists today.
Yeah.
Yeah. But eBay has just 30 cents no matter what the transaction is. Gotcha. So they went from 10% to 12.9% plus 30 cents. And there's been a lot of uproar about that. And a lot. Is it negligible in your opinion? 2.3% to 2.9%? What do you think?
Everything's scalable, I think. I mean, if you're selling $100,000 worth, sure, that's going to make an impact. It's kind of like if you own a trucking business, then a 5 cent change in the gas price is going to change the way you do business in some circumstances. If you're driving back and forth to work, you don't even notice a 5 cent change in the gas price most of the time. It's only going to affect you based upon how much you drive, and you're probably already there to a certain amount, and it's probably going to amount to what, $1 more every time you fill up, so you probably don't even notice as much. But again, if you're in a bigger operation, if you're in $1 million a year business, then yeah, it's going to hit you. So I think it's going to be scalable in that regard. I think most people, to be honest, won't notice, and I think that's why the percentage point can go up incrementally, because for eBay it means a lot more money. Where people won't make a fuss about it. If they doubled it overnight, yeah, everybody, start jump ship, look for other platforms, post on Facebook how angry they are. But I think for the most part, most people won't even blink at it.
So it's roughly 0.5 to 0.6%.
Yeah, something like
So
that. Yeah.
0.5 to 0.6.
Yeah.
You're right though. If you're making $100,000 in a year on eBay, that 0.5%.
Yeah.
That's
It'll bite you. Yeah, it'll bite you.
Okay, so you had mentioned returns. And it's funny that you mentioned returns, because earlier this week, and that was what I was going to show. Let's see if I can get it to come up here. So earlier this week, they sent out an email. Do you see? Can you see it?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
So they sent out this email on, it was late last week, August 28th. New features or managed payment sellers. And it talks about fixed price, zero insertion fees for up to 100,000, financing options available, updates on refunds. Wow, okay, wait a minute. Updates on refunds, claims, and disputes. And this came up with such a outburst from social media. They had to send out a second email just a little while after that, like the same day, just a few hours later. And it says, we sent out an email earlier today with the incorrect link. Please click here. And it's to basically
We're changing
clarify their returns. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at their return process. And this starts September 14th, mind you, beginning September 14th, 2020. I believe this is only for those of us on managed payment platforms. Yes, new features for managed payment sellers. Okay, so starting on September 14th, this is what the process looks like. The buyer wants to request a return, and it will go, it looks like it could be something that, say, fault of the seller versus buyer's remorse, right? And fault of the seller, eBay provides an immediate return label. So your return's immediately authorized.
So what I'm hearing is you don't even get to necessarily dispute the fact. Like, so this kind of negates all that. Well, if you tell them exactly what the item is like, and for some reason it wasn't to their expectation, like, oh, this is a different shade of red than what it looked like in the picture, because everybody looks colors the exact same way.
That's right.
Then eBay is going to force you to return.
That's right.
It sounds like. Yeah,
that's right. Immediate label is provided, and I don't know what saves it saves 3 business days in the process. Basically, what they're saying there is, by eBay providing an immediate label, it gets the sellers taking up to 3 days to approve the process, to approve the return out of the loop. It just completely takes it out of the equation.
Yeah.
And so they provide an immediate return label. Now, on the flip side, if they have buyer's remorse, the label is still immediately supplied. However, it's paid for by the buyer.
Yeah, I'm okay with the fact that if they get buyer's remorse, they can pay for the shipping back.
But what's the? I mean, you know how these returns go.
What's the criteria for that?
Buyer's remorse. Yeah, you can't. I mean, if they are a nice person and they choose, I changed my mind, that would be buyer's remorse. But if they change their mind, but they choose doesn't meet description, well, now they've immediately gotten the return label, and it's not necessarily paid by the buyer.
Yeah.
All right, move on down the the road here, of course they have 5 days to print and ship the item.
Mm-hmm.
You get the item as the seller, you get the returned item. Now you have 3 days. No, I'm sorry. You have 2 days to review and provide a refund,
Mm-hmm.
or open some sort of case.
So hopefully you're not on vacation when this happens, is what I'm hearing.
That's the first thing I thought of
Yeah.
too.
Hopefully you're not out of town or doing something, because otherwise you're just going to get stuck.
And then see what the last one is. Automatic refund.
Yep.
Only provided after 2 business days. So if you are caught out of, I don't know, on vacation, away, or anything, automatic refund. Hey, what if it gets lost in the mail and gets to the next guy over, or the wrong street, and it says it's been delivered and you don't have it? Well, you better open a case.
And I wonder, I just wonder if their flow chart here just isn't detailed enough to bake that part into where maybe it has to require showing that the package was actually delivered to your address in order for that 2 days to start the clock.
It's going to go by, in the details, it's going to go by the delivery notification.
Okay, well, yeah,
so
but if it gets
USPS
delivered to the wrong address, that
says it's been delivered, even no matter where it's been delivered, if they say it's been delivered, that's when they're going to say it. Hey, while I was sharing my screen, got a couple of new people, and actually just one. Hey, what's up, Casey, the Carolina Hustler? What's up, man? Appreciate you stopping by, buddy. We're probably going to get you on the show one time in the future, so clear your calendar. I know it's busy. So ultimately, the return process, it might get a little bit weird.
Yeah. And it's going to take some getting used to, I think, I
really feel like as a seller, I'm going to start recording every return I get. I'm going to prop up my GoPro or something, and I'm going to record just to cover my own butt.
It's almost like you're doing your own unboxing. Like, you used to
I'm not
unboxing
doing it
videos
to show on YouTube or anything. I'm doing it in case I have to open a case. I have that proof
you have
that whatever's in there wasn't the right thing, because you got to open a case, and it's their word against mine if I say I didn't get the right thing returned, right?
That's right. That's right.
So it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be real weird. Checking over my notes. That's pretty much the gist of it. The payouts and the delay in payouts are really the biggest, weirdest thing right now, because I love if I sold $100 pair of tennis shoes, I had that money in my bank account to spend at Goodwill at lunchtime that day.
That's very true. Yeah, it's there's I mean, it definitely sort of leads you to the idea that you have to keep reserves back, especially for returns. So, wait for feedback on that item until, if you even get feedback on that item, wait at least a good time period to where you feel safe with it, maybe a week or two, before you start thinking about moving that money somewhere. Because if they're going to automatically generate the return, then maybe it's a good practice to do that anyway, and it probably is. Although for some of us, we operate by, I got some money, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that money, reinvest it in something else that I can then sell, and kind of keep the train moving, because returns are they're a lot more few and far between, when it comes to your overall sales. So you're rolling the dice on that, and I can always use my regular bank account to back it up if I have to, until I get the money back, or whatever it is. Big dollar items I would definitely hold on to until you get feedback, though.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And okay, so the payouts not coming the same day, that's con number one. The payouts not being available for at least 3 days because of the movement from eBay to your bank account, that's downer number 2. And then if you're like me and you use PayPal as your main bank account anyway, you got to move it back to PayPal. That's downer number 3, because that's another 3 days. So it could be a week before you even see that $100 from the shoes you just sold.
Yeah.
Also, you made a comment that made me think, having something in reserves for the potential of a return. That almost says to me, maybe I shouldn't do daily payouts. I mean,
keep it back for a month. I mean, just if you could hold off on, you mentioned earlier in the show, you said, that you're holding back to where, if you haven't made X amount of dollars in that week, then you don't go source new items. And maybe it becomes that's your way of holding back money in reserve in case anything goes down. You can also, I'm presuming you can add money to this. Or can you not?
You can't add money
so you can't add money to it. Okay. So there's no sort of buffer zone, because in PayPal you could. In PayPal, you could stick $100 in there and just to have it as a rainy day fund in case, now, things went sideways on something.
There might be a way, but it's kind of like, when you potentially make a payment on a credit card, but then you have to do a return. So now you have a credit on the credit card balance.
The credit card sends you a check because they hate owing money, which is kind of ironic.
But technically they don't send you that check for like a year, maybe. Anyway, but
depends on your card. I think
you could theoretically make a one-time payment towards, say, a monthly invoice, and that could, instead of paying $20 for my the eBay store that I pay on a monthly basis, maybe I could pay $100 this month and have a $80 reserve or zero or negative balance. That's a theory. I have nothing to back that up or prove that. That's just a theory right now. It sounds like it should work though.
I would imagine.
Any other questions you got on eBay managed payments?
No, that's about it. I mean, I think a lot of, things that would come up for me is once I actually dive into it. It's kind of hard to see something from a 30,000 foot level on it initially, but I think you've given some really good information as far as what to expect, and some of the pros and cons. And to be honest too, by the time some of us get to where we're forced to use this, some of these issues may change. They may have, y'all may be the guinea pigs, like how you said, iPhone users tend to be the guinea pigs because they send it out to that iOS or that operating system first. And so, in this case, you may be the guinea pig on that, and they'll see, what works and what doesn't. So by the time we get migrated to it, it may be one of those things where it's not even a concern anymore. And maybe it'll answer my own question at that time.
Yeah, it's highly possible. All right, man. You ready to get into our hot and not of the week?
I am. Bring it on.
Hot or not?
I just love that.
I do. I like it. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds like you're speaking with some kind of British accent when you.
I almost want to re-record it because I did it with a really bad microphone, but then I love it so much I just want to just leave it like it is.
I think it'll become a cult classic, amongst amongst the listeners, amongst the
people are going to steal it and use it somewhere else.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to see it show up somewhere else.
Hot or not? This is a segment of our show, ladies and gentlemen who are still watching, where Gary and I go over a hot item that we think you should definitely be on the lookout for and pick up if you see it, or a not item. Now, it could be something that you thought was going to be hot, but it ended up being a not. Or it could be something that used to be a hot, but now it's a not. So what you got, Gary? What is your hot item this week?
As far as the hots, I would say because the NFL season is less than 2 weeks away from us, as it stands right now anyway, that anything related to the NFL, hats, shirts, jerseys, whatnot, any kind of team, whatever. Go ahead and pick it up and put it out there. Actually, in my listing, it's funny. I've got all these pictures, that I've taken of stuff, and I'm kind of casually listing them as I go, as I find time from my phone. And one of the things that I listed was a couple of Green Bay Packers hats, that I happen to have. So just because, again, the season's coming up, people are gearing up for the season, even though attendance at the games isn't going to be as high as it will be. I think a lot of stadiums are going to be 20 to 25% capacity. So when it comes to that, you're not going to get as much in the way of that as far as when people want to go to the games. But I'll tell you what they are still going to do is they're still going to have game days at their house. They're still going to wear their team colors on game day. They're still going to go to a restaurant or a bar that may be showing the game. So anything like that,
they're still going to get together with their buddies and their pals.
Exactly right.
I don't know if they'll be wearing masks or not, but
I hope
to each
not.
their own.
God, I hope not. Anyway, but The thing is that one of the things that I'll say is that you really have to pay attention to when sporting seasons start for different sports. Baseball's going on strong right now, thus the Brave shirt, Braves hat going on right now. I mean,
Go Braves.
Go Braves. So the thing is that the baseball season is in swing. That's a pun for everybody. But it's one of those things where if you're looking for items and you're having doubts about it, again, remember your bread and butter can be made off of $15, $16, $17 hats, to sort of supplement what you do. And if you find enough of them in volume, that adds up. So yeah, pick up stuff like that. So what about you, Adam? What is your hot item?
All right. My hot item. And this hot item I actually have personally happened like just this week. Okay. Ariat Pro Series button-up shirts.
Oh, okay. Like the cowboy shirts, like the rodeo style shirts. Yeah.
Ariat,
I think.
Ariat.
Yeah. Ariat. Yeah.
Ariat Pro Series button-up shirts. Okay.
It's like every comment right now. Who's right on the pronunciation? Myself or Adam? Is it Ariat or is it Ariat? So.
All right. So here's the deal. I had a few of these tucked away in my closet that I took the pictures with my cell phone. And while I was on my lunch break on last Friday, I loaded them up, all 3 of them. And guess what? I sold all 3 of them. Friday I sold 1 and 2 more over the weekend. So I'm going to call that a hot. I mean, I priced them just right. I did $20 plus shipping and they all sold. So that's a hot item to me. Anything you can list and sell within 24, 48 hours, that's hot.
Ariat's a good brand, and let me tell you why. They have really a good reputation as far as being Western wear, work wear. If for the folks, I don't know how widespread Tractor Supply Company is across the nation. I know down here in the South, it's everybody knows Tractor Supply, so it's one of the brands that they sell there. And Ariat usually costs money because it is good stuff. I have a pair of Ariat boots that I love, and they're great for working and outdoor activities. And I'll tell you what, and people may call me crazy, but during this whole pandemic thing, moth just attacked me. I don't know if you saw that, but during this whole pandemic, one of the things that they say people are getting back to doing is getting back outdoors. They're breaking from you've seen everything on Netflix. Tiger King is old, all that. So people are going camping again. They're riding horses again. They're, getting out in off-road vehicles. They're hunting, fishing, doing all these things outdoors. So I think that, Ariat's one of those brands that sort of speaks to that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Let's get a question real quick before we jump on our knots. So Denise, Vulture Dumpster Diver. She has a question. Do I brand myself or not on eBay? I don't think I'm entirely I would go with yes. And the reason why I would go with yes is because that might be the point in time you need to start rather than catch up and wish you had done it earlier. So for instance, if you have a store that you have just started on eBay and you're going to pay them money on a monthly basis and you want to make this something, start from the beginning. Come up with a nice name for your store. Not just your screen name. You know what I'm saying? So I would say yes.
I don't know if I would add dumpster diver in there. I'm just saying. I mean, I think it's catchy. That's awesome. But think of when it comes to branding, think of how people are going to receive what you're selling. And it's so funny, Adam, we never actually say what the name of our eBay store is on here, which is kind of funny to me. So let's throw it out there. I'm gonna throw you under the bus on this first one. What's your eBay store name or handle, whatever it is, your username? What is it?
Okay, so my username is BaldyPal24, but my store name is just BaldyPal.
Okay.
And that's something I've used across multiple platforms on the internet.
So it's familiar to you. You probably already had a logo designed for other things, that you were doing, so you could just migrate it over.
And like I said earlier, it's something I knew no matter what I get into, I wanted something that would work. So It's actually, I don't know. I don't remember what you call it. Maybe it's an acrostic. Is that when you take letters and you make a word out of the letters or something? It's not an abbreviation, but honestly, it's BALDYPAL, and it's the first two letters of all the people in my family, and you rearrange. It's the first two letters of their name, and you rearrange it, and you get Bawdy Pal. It just so happens to be a friendly bawdy guy, but it's also family familiar and close to me for that reason. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. She's not right now, but I want to go on record and say it. A good friend of mine at the place we work, she no longer works there anymore, but her name is Jennifer Moss. Thank you, Jennifer. She helped me come up with that name. In fact, she came up with that name while we were trying to come up with a name. It was her idea. So thank you, Jennifer. Credit is all yours.
There you go. There you go. You know, it's funny. I think I remember you telling me, excuse me, over a round of golf one time, that's how you came up with the name. But I really thought,
hey, look, Joey Bada Bing, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Hey,
thanks
Joey
for dropping by, buddy.
He was on our last show, so if you haven't seen our last show, be sure to go check it out. Great interview with Joey Bada Bing, and you know, a lot of good insight onto how the U.S. Postal Service operates. You know, some tips in there as well. So again, go check that out in the archives of our videos if you have not already.
Excellent interview with Joey.
Yes, it was a great interview. So, but yeah, anyway, I think over a game of golf, you know, you told me that that's how you came up with it, but I forgot, and I really thought it was because of your hair.
Yeah.
So,
should you keep Vulture? Sure,
yes.
Work it in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think Vulture's kind of awesome. It's kind of, you know, it's mysterious. It's that
Vulture Thrift.
Yeah, rock it. Yeah, absolutely rock it.
Vulture resells. Yeah, Vulture's great. I like that one. That's good.
Yeah. It'll come to you. At 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So then you'll write it down, hopefully.
My advice there, how I came up with Bawdy Pal, or how it came up, is we just wrote every possible idea we could come up with on paper. And then once that one came, it was like, ding, that's it.
You do it right away. Yeah, you do it right away.
But I didn't want to forget the previous ones. All right, so let's talk about our knot. Now, this is an item that either, like I said,
you're not going to ask me what my eBay store name is?
Sorry. What is your eBay store name, Mr. Gary Perkins?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to get my own plug here. So my eBay store name is, if you look it up, you're going to have to look it up this way. It's Universal_Exports_007. And that actually does have significance. And it's funny, one guy that bought something off of me one time, he actually called me out on the reference, and he says, I love the reference. And I said, oh, okay, cool. So the story behind it is that Universal Exports is the code name. It's the cover company that James Bond works for. So whenever he goes out in the field and does his mission or whatever, he always introduces himself as Mr. Sterling from Universal Exports. So that's kind of how I came up with it. And even the logo on there is the logo that he used on a business card in the Quantum of Solace movie. So I incorporated that in there too. So it was cool that somebody actually recognized it one time. And it's kind of neat whenever that happens.
Big James Bond fan, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got the tattoo. So
I was going to say, don't you have it somewhere?
The new trailer dropped today, by the way, and it looks excellent. And I can't wait. November 20th is when it's supposed to come out. Remember, it's supposed to come out in April. I should have it on Blu-ray by now, but COVID. Some guy in China ate a bat. Thanks, guy. So anyway,
delayed our 007.
I know. Yeah, rocking on. Yeah.
All right. So what's your knot?
My knot is going to be. Yeah, you did. My knot is going to be, all right, anything that's store brand. All right.
What?
There's going to be exceptions to this, so I'll clarify that. But all right, so store brands, this is one of those things where you have to sort of, do your homework on a little bit, and people shop. Everybody shops. You go to the mall and you go to, Walmart, and you go to different places like that. So everybody shops, and what store brands are that this individual store puts out. So for example, if you go to say JC Penney, for example, what St. John's Bay, that brand is a JC Penney brand, right? That's what they market under that name, they sell under that name. If you go to Academy Sports and Outdoors, Magellan is their brand that they sell and they mark under that name, right? Now, this is where I'm going to clarify. So stay away from anything that's store brand, because typically these are offered at a lower price anyway versus competitor brands. Like Academy with Magellan is going to try to compete with Columbia and North Face and stuff like that. Well, the thing is if you want something like that, well, you're just going to go buy that, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to go buy those brands. Now, the thing is if it's a very special type of item, or if it's an item that was a little bit more high dollar that was of that brand, like Magellan does their own brand of coolers. They sort of do, I'm not going to say knockoffs, but they do like a version of a Yeti. You come across something like that, yes, buy it, because it still costs $150 in the store, and so you can make some coin on it if you find a good deal on it. But typically your store brands aren't going to bring near as much as your normal name brands that have that name recognition that people want and desire.
That's good. That's good. I actually have a small story. I don't remember the name of the channel, but I do recall watching a video of them one time going over the things that they've picked. And they picked up St. John's Bay, which I think they were thinking it was St. John's, which are two different brands.
Yeah, completely different.
And so, if I'm not mistaken, St. John's Bay is a store brand like you're talking about.
If it's not a store brand, it's exclusively marketed for that store to where they can only sell it in that store.
Yeah.
So, but again, you may see like there may be a St. John's Bay jacket at JCPenney that costs $200, and if you find it for $5 at Goodwill, sure, pick it up if you can make $60 on it. Do your homework on it.
Do your homework is right.
Do your homework. Use your eBay app. Look at what things are selling for. Don't steer away from it completely. It really depends on what it is. But if it's like a T-shirt, or if it's like a hat, or something other that's in sort of the lower tier of what you can make on something, I just stay away from it, because the best you're probably gonna do is make your money back plus $2 or $3.
That's right.
And it's probably not worth your time at that point. There are much better items that you can pick at the store and spend your money on than something like that.
Yep. So let's shout out to Bearded Thrift Machine. This is Julian. Hey, y'all. Sorry I'm late. Love the chat. Thanks, man, for dropping by. I appreciate you. Yeah, I know there was another YouTuber who had plenty, like 50,000 something subscribers, that had a premiere air right at the same time as ours begun. But I appreciate you dropping by when that was all over.
With this person too, yeah. And I think I saw another one from Denise Vulture, Dumpster Diver, I think is what I've got, and she said that her daughter came up with the name for a store. I think that's fantastic. I don't know how old your daughter is, but when it comes to that, teaching those lessons early and participating like that as a family is also something that makes this game a lot more worth it, a lot more rewarding at the end. Get
her involved.
Yeah,
the lesson of money accounting.
That's right. My oldest, he actually, for the first time in probably about a good 6 months, went and he bought some stuff to go sell on eBay. And I said, "Oh, you're back in the game," because I kind of taught him a little earlier. And I said, "You're back in the game, huh?" He goes, "I make more money doing this than I do working my actual job that actually requires me to be there, doing dirty things and all this other stuff." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I respect that. Do it as another hustle. You can always have more than one well that you draw water from." So
absolutely,
yeah.
So Kayla S has a question. Hey guys, what would be the one item y'all would stay away from selling? Well, it's funny you might ask that. We happen to be going over our hot and not. And Gary just went over the one item that he suggests to stay away from, and that's anything that's store branded. And now it's time for my not, and that is Columbia PFG button front shirts. Completely have fallen off the market as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, really?
I've got 4 or 5 in my closet. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but guess what? They're going for pennies right now. Pennies. And I can't move them. I did a 15% off sale on the already reduced PFGs I have on my store, and I still can't get rid of them.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry. I'm going to answer Kayla's question a little bit more specifically if I can. Kayla, the one thing I would say when it comes to staying away from anything that you can't verify its authenticity. you know, there's going to be a lot of, here's the thing, people fake everything, right? People fake everything. The cigar I'm smoking, people will fake cigars, right? You've heard of fake Cuban cigars and things like that, you know, because if they can drive the price up, they will on a fake item, right? Selling fake items, and I have a whole rant about this in one of our shows where I said, if you sell fake items on purpose, you are a piece of crap, and I don't even know what to do with you and the words that I have for you. But that's the thing, is that if you can't verify its authenticity as being a legitimate, real item for that brand, then stay away from buying it, because you don't want to be that person selling that. You don't want to be known as a cheat, as a faker, as a charlatan, anything like that. You want your stuff to be authentic. You want to be part of the legitimate, you know, group of people that go and sell real things. One thing that comes to mind, by the way, and this is huge, how many purses do you buy at Goodwill, Adam? How many purses do you buy?
Okay. In the past, a couple of Vera Bradleys,
right? Because it's sort of easy to verify those for the most part, right? But there's a lot of stuff out there, and especially if it's starting to show up in thrift stores and stuff. How many Louis Vuitton purses have you seen?
Louis Vuitton, Coach, Gucci. You see them under the glass all the time.
Yes, and when you go to one time, we found, what was it, Filipino money inside of the Louis Vuitton purse, and it's like, this thing is fake as a $3 bill, because you know, they're not selling Louis Vuitton on the street in Manila, right? No. They're just not, and you know, I can tell, because you know, it's a power brand that is, you know, they've got such a strong brand and such a strong brand protection. They purposely make it to where there's little nuances that you have to put in there. It's almost like counterfeiting money. You know, look at a dollar bill and see how many little things are in there to make it hard to counterfeit. And brands like Louis Vuitton, Coach, and all that do the same thing to protect themselves, because people fake it so often. So again, my advice, Kayla, I don't know if I would say one specific brand to stay away from.
But just anything you can't.
Anything you can't verify.
Yeah. Jermaine, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Always going to stop by with great content. I appreciate that. I really do. Pass the word along. But he has another comment. He says, where'd it go? Here we go. Dang, I just bought 2 PFGs. You know, maybe you'll have better luck than I do. I wish you the best. I truly do. And then you got a Bearded Thrift Machine. He says, 100% agree. You can't give them away. That's right. I'm trying to, and I couldn't do it.
I'll tell you, maybe it's time to switch up where you're trying to sell them. Maybe sell them on a different platform locally. You know, there may be, if you live in an area, especially that does more outdoorsy things, like if you live along the coast, people go fishing all the time, you may have a better chance of selling them there. You know, so change up your thing. Mercari, Craigslist, Let Go, some of the other different platforms. There's probably 100 of them. You know, it just may not work for eBay, but it may work somewhere else.
That's right. All right, we got 2 more segments. We're going to go into the pick of the week, but stay tuned after that shortly, because we're going to play another game with Gary. First off, pick of the week. All right, Gary, you've got the pick of the week.
I do have the pick of the week this week, right?
All right, I'm going to pull it up while you start talking about it.
Okay. All right, so this has been about 3 months ago. You know, 3 months ago, I went to Goodwill, and normally, like, I'm looking for books for myself. I like to collect books that speak to me, that are a little bit rare, and you know, Adam and I actually have a kind of a cool story about this as well that we'll share. But I like to find, I love finding autographed books at Goodwill. You know, I found 3 U.S. presidents, 2 first ladies, several authors, several other famous people that sign books, and I just like to buy them and have them, because I can look at this one bookshelf that I have and say every single one of those is either a signed copy or it's a first edition. You know, and some of the ones that, you know, I have are actually worth a decent bit of money, you know, which is crazy to me, you know, but I love to collect books, especially ones like that. So anyway, this book actually, it kind of spoke to me when I saw it, right? The 18 greatest Scottish golf holes. Okay, so basically what it is it's a big picture book. It's a big picture book of exactly what the title says. So there's
I'll
a
scroll
bunch
through
of
the pictures real quick.
yeah, there's a bunch of golf courses in Scotland, and they took pictures from the most scenic golf holes and gave sort of an explanation of history and all that. It's a very nice book. Like, and that's kind of the thing that drew me to it. I said, well, typically the nicer the book, as far as the pictures, the richness of the color, the way the pages feel in your hand, the more valuable it tends to be. The more it probably sold for in the beginning. Okay. So this one also had what they call a slipcover. All right. So I think, Adam, there's a picture of it within, like, as sort of the whole thing. If I recall correctly. Yeah. So that's the slipcover that it's in. And then the next picture was of the cover of the book itself outside of that little jacket that it had, if you will. All right. So this book apparently was a book that not a lot of copies were made of. All right. And it's also one of those things, apparently, from what I read about it, it was offered to particular country clubs. So this wasn't even a book that was necessarily sold. To my understanding, it wasn't sold, at least it wasn't sold in mass. So this was going to be one of those books where I knew that A, it was a little bit more rare. B, it appealed to a very particular segment. C, the segment that it applies to are people who play golf. If you play golf, you have money to burn. Adam, am I right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Golf is an expensive sport to play, right?
You've got lots of money to burn.
I love losing golf balls in the woods. It's an adult Easter egg hunt if you're not good at it, right? So it's kind of
they even make glasses to help you do it faster.
That's right. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. So there's 10 million gadgets for golf. There's a whole sporting goods sections for golf, And if you ever go price golf clubs, yeah, they're expensive. Okay. So I knew that whatever segment wanted to buy this or who's interested in this, there must be some kind of market for this. Now,
is Carolina Hustler still in the comments? He knows how expensive golf clubs are. He makes his whole resale business basically on golf clubs.
There you go. So the thing is that if this book was only offered to country clubs, it's one of those things that people who collect golf memorabilia as well possibly could want. So originally the price on this book, from what I saw it going for on eBay, if it was still sealed, it was going for $200, right? I bought it for $10.
$10,
so which is expensive for me to buy a book for. But again, I thought it was worth it. And in natural Goodwill fashion, they take a wax pencil and write on the stupid book, because I think it was before they came up with the labels, that they use down here now. So the thing is that this book, I knew I could at least get something for it, even out of the wrapper and all that. So I looked it up, and in the condition that it was in, it was going for about $120 at the time. All right, so I bought it, went ahead and listed it, and I put it at $120, what it had been sold for. And it kind of sat, and it sat, and it sat. I didn't really I think I got one watcher on it, and it sat, and it sat. So I lowered the price. I bumped down to $100, and it sat. And I think I picked up one more watcher, and it sat. Then I bumped it to 75 and didn't really get any traction on it anymore after that. Well, I finally lowered it to $69.99 last week, and lo and behold, somebody went out there and they purchased it, right? So, again, it's a book, right? It's not some grand slam home run. It's not like I spent $5 and got $200 out of something, right? That's what we call a home run. This was more of the fact that you got to sell a book, for $70. That's kind of a little bit more of a rare bird. I mean, I can count on literally no hands. Now I can count on one hand how many books I've ever sold for that much money. I mean, I've sold some books, like some of the Auburn yearbooks that I find. I've sold those for upwards of $40 or $50, having only spent $2 or $3 on it. So those have usually been my success stories when it comes to books, as far as selling them. But, this one, it really did well. And I'll tell you what, if I was more of a golf enthusiast, like instead of just a hacker at the ball, I played, and I was really passionate. It was my sport. I probably would have kept this because it's a beautiful book. Would make a great addition to anybody's office or man cave or anything like that.
It probably got picked up to put in somebody's office.
Like it probably did, area. Yeah, I sold it to a guy in New
as
York.
a decoration. Yep.
Yeah, so I sold it to a guy in New York, I think upstate New York. So I'm sure they have some beautiful country clubs up there. And I hope that whoever bought it gets as much enjoyment out of it as I wish I could give to it. So there's that.
You ready to go play some golf in Scotland?
Yeah, sure. Say when. Yeah. I mean, you're the one that makes money on eBay. So you're paying the greens fees, right? That's what I'm hearing.
You're going to have to up your game.
Well, you can't really get lost in the woods up there. That's kind of the key.
That's true.
It's all links courses. You're just going to end up on the next hole over
or in the water.
Back or in the water.
All right, everybody. It's time for the game.
That is how I look without a hat, by the way.
That is how you look without a hat. We have a new game tonight, and we're going to try to keep Gary on his toes with these games. And it is another Price is Right type game, except that it's called High or Low. Now, Gary, if the game, and for everybody watching, the game High Low is played like this. I'm going to show you 6 products. And these are products that have been sold on eBay. Now, they are not, I'll go ahead and tell you up front, they're not off the wall weird products. Okay. Nothing like last week or last time with Joey.
The weird Pokemon card. Yeah. Whatever.
Or the Cheetos. But these are regular products. In fact, I'll go ahead and give you a heads up and tell you that this is the COVID edition. Okay. The quarantine COVID edition. So these are quarantine/COVID products. Okay. And I'm going to show you 6 of them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I think it's worth saying that I have not seen any of these. All right.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
I'm going to show you any of this. So yeah.
And if you have any questions about them, I do have the information on my side that I can read it to you if it'll help you. But you have to pick the 3 highest products by price, and then when you're done picking the 3 highest, I'm going to then unveil the 3 remaining. And if any of the remaining ones are higher than the lowest one you picked out, you lose.
Right.
But if you picked out all 3 of the highest, you win. Sound like a go? All right. Let's try this out. Let's pick it out. I'm going to share my screen right here. All right. Do you see the screen, Gary?
I love the COVID edition.
All right. This is the COVID edition of High-Low.
What the hell is that in the corner?
Let me go over these 6 products for you real quick while you're trying to determine which ones you want to pick out. Okay. All right. So we first off have 1 tube of Clorox wipes. Okay. Just your regular disinfectant Clorox wipes.
All right.
We have a 6-pack of Charmin Mega Ultra Soft toilet paper. All righty.
Yep.
Next, we have a box of 100 latex gloves. Yep.
Okay.
4th item is a box of 100 medical masks. We have I'll need to confirm. I think this is a 6.5 ounce tube of Purell hand sanitizer.
Fancy brand.
And the last product is a face shield, a clear face shield, whether it be medical or regular. I'm not going to say day to day, but today it could be just called regular day to day.
So you can,
clear face shield. Okay. It's not the guy. You're not pricing the guy.
Right. So,
or a smile for that matter.
So if you're going for the award of how to look the most ridiculous during the pandemic,
yes. All right. All right. So you can play along with us in the comments if you want to help Gary out. Actually, Gary, I don't think you can see the comments, can you?
I can't. No. So
but
it's
y'all
can
like
phone a friend, except I can't hear the phone. And
I
don't have any
well,
friends.
Go ahead and put some. As you pick them, Gary. If I'm going to show you the price you choose, and once you decide on one, you can't go back on it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So real quick before we get started, though, I got a really good comment here from Jermaine. They don't call me couponing word Jermaine for no reason. All right. So Jermaine, you help out Gary. If you think there's a good product, I will tell Gary your advice because he can't see your comments right now.
And let me tell you, Jermaine, if you're really good at couponing, you know, that's an item that we really haven't touched on. So I'll tell you what, I'd be curious to hear about that. So you know, you may be hearing from us about ways to share that information if you wish with the rest of our listening audience.
Kayla's chiming in early. She says Clorox gloves and face. I think she means face mask. Yeah, there's an emoji there.
Yeah,
face
yeah.
mask. Clorox gloves and face mask. Okay.
Yep.
So she's going to help you out a little bit there.
Okay.
The mask picker says Clorox face masks and hand sanitizer. Okay. So, all right, Gary, go ahead. What's your first choice of the three highest? What's your first one you want to pick?
The first thing that I think is the highest, I think, are the face masks. I like the mask, not the shield, the face mask, the 100-pack.
Okay. Let's see that price. $17.89. Okay, wow, you're doing pretty good.
That's dipped down a lot since the early days of the pandemic. My God.
Well,
early days of the pandemic, that would have fetched over $100 easily. Over $100. Yeah.
Well, these are probably not your what do you call it whenever they bump the price up like that? I can't remember.
Oh, the price gouging. Yeah,
price gouging.
Yeah, it's true. All right.
All right. Are you ready to pick your second item?
Yes, I think the second item is going to be, I'm going to say the Clorox wipes, the individual ones. Now, you can't find these in stores anywhere because when my dog craps on the floor, we like to use one of the Clorox wipes. But unfortunately, we've had to kind of use bleach in our own little wipe. But anyway, rock on.
All right. You good? You ready?
Yep.
Okay. 1988.
My God. Okay.
So that's two of your three highest choices. What do you think is the third one? Hold on a second. Hold on.
All right.
Jermaine says Ambitex. Okay, so he's choosing the gloves. He's audience helping you out. He says the gloves. So
I think I'm gonna go with Jermaine on this one. I think the gloves are probably gonna be it.
Okay. So I'll reveal the price. $15.
Okay.
Well, that's the lowest. That's the lowest of the three you've chosen. Does that worry you any?
It doesn't, because I've kind of seen some of the other prices. I mean, I think toilet paper is reasonably back in stock now. You know, I think that hand sanitizer is reasonably back in stock. I've seen it at Sam's, you know, for $3.99. So I think that if you're going on eBay to find hand sanitizer these days, you know, that's on you. So the face shield's kind of the same way. The face shield's the only one that worries me. So
okay. Well, since that's so much worry to you, I'm going to leave that to last. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Build the.
All right. Yeah. So 15 was the lowest. So that means that these other two we don't need to look at anymore.
Okay.
So these other three have to come in lower than $15 in order for you to win this game.
All right.
All right. Which one you want to look at first? The toilet paper?
Let's go with toilet paper.
All right. $9.99.
Okay. It's about what toilet paper costs in stores now.
You're doing pretty good. You're below the 15.
Yep.
All right. Jermaine is now hoping that he was right since you decided to go with him.
So it's got to be sanitizer next.
Gary's hoping that you're right too, Jermaine.
That's right.
All right. All right. So that was less than 15. That's good. You're winning so far. You want to look at the Purell next since you're worried about the face shield?
I do.
All right. The Purell, $6.95.
Okay. Most of that shipping, by the way. If you're paying that much for hand sanitizer right now, most of that shipping. So, and you probably, you know, I don't know how you mail it because, you know, liquid, perishable, hazardous, you know, it's flammable and it's liquid.
I don't know either.
Just saying. By the way,
well, you're winning so far, though.
If you ever need a fire starter, hand sanitizer is a fantastic fire starter for like campfires and stuff like that. Anyway, rock on.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. And the one you're most worried about is the face shield, huh? Okay. So why are you worried about the face shield?
Well, they're requiring them in so many schools like right now. I mean, that's the thing. So I don't know if the supply is more limited and that there's, you know, whenever supply is limited, people will snatch up and then dump on platforms and then sell it high, which is, you know, what happened when it came to all these products in the early days. I mean, I remember a 5-pack of masks would cost you $50 in the early days. I'm talking March, you know, here in the US anyway. Anybody listening internationally, you know, I don't know what it was like earlier on. I mean, heck, if you were in Italy around March, God, you could probably name your price for stuff like that. So anyway.
I was supposed to go to Ireland, but didn't. So anyway, that's in the past. So here's what we're going to do. If you win this game, this is going to get chalked up as a Gary win, obviously.
Yep.
But if you are wrong about the face shield and you lose this, I'm going to chalk this up into the guest category, and this is going to count against you in the future.
All right. I'm willing to take that chance. Well, I've already taken that chance. So I'm all in.
All right. You ready?
I am. Do it.
The face shield was $5.99.
Woo. I can't believe that's the cheapest of all of them. I'm actually shocked by that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because apparently you'd have to put it in some kind of box, I would imagine, or an envelope. I don't know how flat it folds.
Yeah. Weird. So here's all the prices again.
Okay.
Well, yeah, there's all your prices again. You did good. You won that one, Gary. Gary wins the game of high-low.
That's right.
Good job, buddy.
I do what I can, man.
Yeah.
But, I tell you what, though, excuse me, part of this knowledge comes from paying attention, and thank you, Jermaine. Yeah, nailed it. You nailed it.
I'll give you a clap from the audience over here.
So that's the thing is I think it comes down, and this comes down to whenever you are out there picking that it comes down to, knowing what items are, knowing the market, just being observant of what's going on around you. I'm just going to be me and just say, and other people's mileage may vary on this, but I don't think I could actually sell any of these items on eBay, even during the worst crisis. I know that there's an old saying that says, when there's blood in the streets, invest, 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 right? But I have a personal moral quandary with selling things at super inflated prices. If anything, if I had extra that I didn't need, I would sell them at the price I paid for so somebody else could get them as well.
Yeah,
that's just me. Again, your mileage may vary, your theory may vary. I'm not saying I'm morally superior in saying that. I'm just saying that that's how I look at it. So
I'm in agreement with you. The mass picker said that he went to the flea market and saw face shields for $6 to $7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and I can believe that. Yeah,
and Kayla says that emoji that we saw as a mask was actually a shield.
No
That's
worries.
okay, Kayla.
I'm lost in translation on that one. It's fine.
Actually, you came out on top with your choice of it being a mask, of us interpreting it as a mask more rather than a shield. So
it's true.
Win in your category.
That is true.
All right. Oh man, what a day, what a week, what a time. You had a good time?
I did. Oh, by the way, I promised to tell a story about books. Remember, we were saying that we had a book story, and that we were going to talk about our book story, about rare books and hard to find books and things like that.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I'm glad you remember. Hey, before we do that, I got to do this one comment that happened during the show, during the Get Last game. The mass picker. Hey Gary, I found a military Patagonia windbreaker the day after y'all talked about it on the podcast. Keep an eye out for the military Cry brand. I'm sure you've heard of that. You know these.
I have. Yeah. That company is the one that invented multicam. So the uniforms that you see the soldiers wearing today, that has that, it's almost like a green with brown, and it's more sort of subdued tones and things like that. It's called multicam. There's also different variations of multicam. It, by the way, makes awesome hunting clothing if you ever use it. And if you go out to multicam.com, you can see the different applications of it, and it's almost magical what it does in the places it blends. But anyway, the company, I don't know if it's pronounced Sire or Cry or something like that, but they're the ones that first invented it. And so think of them as like I don't even know how to say this, but like the authentic brand that's not military issue. The military, to my understanding, doesn't even get this brand necessarily of it, because otherwise it would just be everywhere, right? Especially if you live in a military town. But it's very specific to that. So yes, definitely, if you see anything marked with that brand and it's multicam, buy it, because it will fetch you some good money. And I'm talking like jackets and all that, shirts, the pants used to fetch like $200, $300 a piece. So yeah.
So I may not know how to pronounce it, but I know how to spell it, and I'll be looking out for it.
And again, I'm glad that you found that about the Patagonia windbreaker, because again, I found one and found out that it was issued to like tier 1 operators, Navy SEALs, Delta, all those types of dudes. And stuff like that, even if it's not, being bought by somebody in a job description like that, it's being bought by somebody who can appreciate militaria and the different gear that soldiers wear, and even for their own personal use. So yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome that you found that, Mass Picker.
Awesome find.
So Jermaine says we are lucky charms, and you want to know why? He just made a sale while he was chatting with us.
Nice. That's always fun, isn't it?
I love that cha-ching noise.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Jermaine. Good luck. All right. Oh, man. So let's tell our book story. Just a little side story about books, right?
Yeah.
You go ahead and start it.
All right. So if you've ever seen the movie The Hunt for Red October, right? It's a movie, Sean Connery's in it, Alec Baldwin's in it. It was the first Jack Ryan movie. If you've seen Jack Ryan on Netflix, by the way, awesome series. Like, I wish they did the James Bond series, like a Netflix series. I think it would absolutely take off. So Eon Productions, if you're listening to this by chance, which you're not, then by all means, rock on with something like that. But it was basically sort of the first in the Jack Ryan series. It was Tom Clancy's first book that he ever published, right? Yeah. So The Hunt for Red October was actually done originally. They did it in a very limited publishing. Any first edition book is always going to be a limited run because the author's unknown. Who knows? I mean, we don't know who these people are, If you found a first edition of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, I mean, God, it's going to fetch money because, it was a first edition. So it was a very limited run of that. It's very, very collectible. The same thing with this book. It's no different. Tom Clancy's The Hunt for Red October was a book that, if I understand, they originally did, I think it was somewhere, they reported that there was like 5,000 editions of the first edition made. There is a revised estimate that they did where it was more than that, but it was still a limited run of the book. Well, I was in our Goodwill here, and again, we live live and work in Columbus, Georgia, and the surrounding area. So we're right by Fort Benning, which is one of the largest military installations in the world. And so that's why I imagine it was here. The only thing I could find. So anyway, for $2, I picked up a first edition, a genuine first edition, first printing of The Hunt for Red October. And there is a way to tell what printing you have and what edition you have. Again, do your research. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a fantastic website out there where if you go to it, it shows you what makes a book, a certain book, specific book, a first edition. Everything down to...
There's lots of telltale signs too, not just one.
Yes, there are. In this case, it was down to the color of the print on the front. It was to the number of reviews on the back by different people
on the dust jacket.
All of those things. On some of them, on later editions, they put more reviews, or they put them by different people, or whatever. So that tells you, it gives you clues as to what edition you have. So I found a first edition, first printing of The Hunt for October by Tom Clancy. That book is sitting on my bookshelf of my first editions and signed books that I like to collect. I haven't even put it up for sale because I don't want to sell it. I want to keep it for a while. But if it was in absolutely perfect condition, which it's not, finding something like that is going to be super rare. Because somebody had to have squirreled it away in a bookshelf and never touched it for however many years. Nothing got wrinkled or damaged or whatnot. If it was in perfect condition, I could probably get about $1,500 to $2,000 for it, which is just stunning, right?
Yeah.
The way it sits right now, I can probably get anywhere, depending on who bought it, somewhere between $250 and $500 for that book.
Yeah, I believe it.
And phenomenal find. I can't even believe I found it. So, and then coincidentally, Adam.
And coincidentally, about a week later, I went down to Florida to visit my mom, and I was in the Goodwill down in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Which, by the way, is next to a naval base.
Yes, yes, it is. Actually, the Goodwill is right on the same street as the Aquatic Naval Training Facility.
That's right, for the Navy. So,
and I found the exact same book. For only $2.
It's probably some officer that had it on his shelf and just donated his stuff off or something like that, or it was in a cabinet somewhere that it got sent to them because, I'm sorry, Adam, I've hijacked your story. Sorry.
I didn't keep it. I tried several different ways to try to offload it. I didn't know if consignment was going to be the way to do it with the bookstore down in downtown Columbus. I didn't know if I should try to find, use them to find a group who may want to take it off of me. I ended up putting it on eBay and I sold it for $115, but it took a while to sell because something like that takes the right buyer to come along, right?
That's
a
right.
Collector, somebody who knows what they're looking at,
or fan,
probably someone like those points of identification you were talking about before. Make sure those are in your pictures if you're going to list it on eBay, because those are the things that the collector is going to be looking for to make sure that it's authentic.
And I'll give you a little secret too about Goodwill or thrift stores. They're not going to know their books, and they're not going to do in-depth research as to what this book is. What they see as rare books is so funny, because there's sort of a saying that just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable, and just because it's old doesn't mean it's rare. The funny thing about a book like that book is that it sat on the same shelf as every other book, and every other hardcover book that at the time we bought it cost $2 for a book, for a hardcover. So they didn't know it from any other book. That's where you come in. If the book looks a little older, or it's by a famous author and it looks a little older, then by all means, do your research right there in the store. And if you think you can make some money on it, do it. Or if you want it for your collection, do it. The one funny thing about Tom Clancy and The Hunt for October is that it had so much information in it that was at the time not very well known about U.S. naval tactics and ships and all this. People at the Pentagon actually wondered where in the hell he was getting this information from. The book was almost never published because of that reason. And so that's why the very limited run was done. And I imagine that's also why you find them a lot around military towns, because they were probably sent out for people to review for that type of information. And again, it just sort of sat somewhere in a closet that no one touched for 30 or 40 years,
Right.
I think published in 84, if I recall correctly. So
Something
anyway,
like
yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Jermaine has got our comments blowing up right now about the thing that he sold. And, they're looking it up. It's a bolo. He said, how much did you say you paid? Hey, Jermaine, you didn't tell us how much you paid for it. How much did you pay for this item when you found it? So I'm going to share my screen because I looked it up. All right. It's an ab circle. How many of these have we passed by in the store, Gary? A dozen?
That's a
at
thing.
Least a dozen.
That's a thing that you can. Wow. I learned.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm not going to test it out in the store. Is it something that can easily
If you
break?
do it, we'll make the show. If you do it, we'll make the show.
If I decide to test that out in the store, I'm going to actually have to have somebody else record it for me. But why is it in Goodwill? Because they never used it? Did it break on them? Did they fly off and hurt themselves? I'm with you, Jermaine. It looks like it makes some money. They're selling for $125, $180, $100. Well, those are the listing prices. I don't know what the sold prices are, but he sold his. He said for $160.
No kidding.
For $160.
Well, I know what I'm hunting now.
Yeah.
So, and that's
there's a $175 free, $150 free.
Yeah. I've seen sold dates of like August
plus 25
too,
shipping.
Yeah, that's fairly recent. Yeah.
So that's a nice one. I didn't even check the prices whenever I saw them in the store, but I bet you in Columbus they're probably about $50.
All of our local listeners are already snapping these up. So where you at, Mass Picker?
Yeah, and Adam Huff. Hey, he's not going to pick it up. No. Okay. Oh, $10. Jermaine said he picked it up for $10.
That is a home run, my friend. That is
a nice one. Very good.
Yes,
Very
sir.
good.
Yes, sir.
Did you charge shipping? Answer that. Did you charge shipping or did you do free shipping? Let's see if he he said he tested it in the store. I want to see that, man. I hope he caught that on video. Oh man.
Got a good workout at the same time. Really.
Yeah. That would be great. Oh my God. Okay. Next time we go and picking and we see a piece of, we got to do it. Make a pack. Next time we go picking together and we see a piece of exercise equipment in the store, we're going to flip a coin and whoever loses has to test out the exercise equipment no matter what it is.
All right, I'll take that.
You down for that?
Yeah.
All right. He said he charged shipping. Oh, look, check this out. It's his 4th time picking one up. All right.
Okay.
So he's obviously that's a good one. I'm going to put that in the hot department. Good one, Jermaine. That is definitely a hot. If you've bought 4 for 10 or less and sold them for 150, 160 plus shipping, that's definitely a hot item. I will give you that. That's true. He's got a video on his Instagram of me testing it out in the middle of the store.
All right. Well, Jermaine, what's your Instagram so that
that's when I'm going to be looking it up.
Yeah. So not just for that, but you've offered some really awesome information, and I'd be curious to see what your Instagram has.
Yeah, man. So, hey, as luck would have it, I sold an item on Mercari 3 minutes ago.
Just now. Nice.
Yep. Nice. TNA Impact for Xbox 360 for $19 plus shipping.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Hey, I've been making a good turnaround on video games. Did I tell you the story about last week? No, I didn't tell you the story. So last week I was in the Salvation Army and I was making my way around to the video games. They have it on the back wall. And it was very few, not a whole lot at all. And I was still looking though. And a guy pushed his buggy up behind me, and it caught my attention because he got pretty darn close to me. 6 feet distance, social distancing, whatever.
6 feet, dude.
And so what? I looked at his buggy, and it was slap full of video games. Okay, and I was like, "Crap! No wonder I can't find a good video game. This guy's already pulled them all."
Yeah, he's got them all. Yeah.
So I turned around and I made a comment to him, and I said, "Man, no wonder I can't find anything. It looks like you beat me to it." And he just gave me like this perplexed look on his face, like he didn't think I was talking to him, or he didn't quite hear what I said. So I turned around and I noticed he started stacking them in his hands, and I said, "Are you buying those?" He goes, "No, I'm putting them out on the shelf." So I was like, "Woohoo! Give them to me. I'll look through them and then I'll put them on the shelf when I'm done."
Yeah, I'll put them on there for you. Yeah.
I ended up pulling about 6 games out of the stack of about 20 or so. I didn't really count all of them. But yeah, I've been making a good turnaround. In fact, it was going to be one of my hots for the night, and I decided to go with the Ariat. We never settled that anyway. Yeah. But Jermaine said that his Instagram is couponing with Jermaine. All right, we'll look it up, buddy. Yep. And Michael Jackson, The Experience, Wii dancing game. You've heard of Just Dance, the game?
Yes.
So they made a Michael Jackson version with all of his Michael Jackson songs and all of his dances from like his videos and stuff, like Thriller and Bad and Smooth Criminal. Hot, dude. I sold both of them for $17 plus shipping within 2 or 3 days of listing them. So that's another hot one. So video games, I know that's a big thing right now. Lots of people are at home playing video games and playing with video consoles, but be specific with your video games and make sure you can test them. I got an Xbox 360 game that I listed, sold, and got returned about 3 months ago because I didn't test it. It looked good. They said when they got it, it didn't work. I have no way of testing it, so I had to give them a refund and get the money back. And get the game back. I got to find somebody who's got an Xbox 360 so I can test it and maybe see if they were serious about it or not. Yeah. Oh man. All right, Gary. We're down to an hour and a half. I've had fun. I think it's about time to wrap this up. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. People are probably tired. It is still a work night, even though Labor Day is right around the corner. So, we encourage everybody to have a happy and safe Labor Day out there. If you're getting on the roads, going anywhere fun, and all that. One thing I do want to throw out there too, as just sort of a thing. And Adam, this wasn't necessarily in the agenda, but there is a challenge that is going on right now. If you want to be a part of it, just to do it and spread awareness, and encourage you to also make a donation as well. There is a challenge going on that's called 22 push-ups, right? 22 push-ups a day for 22 days. But you can also carry it out as long as you want to, all right? What it does is it brings awareness to veteran suicide. I don't want to, again, end this on a down note, but I do want to end it on a note of positivity in the idea of reducing this number down and giving outreach to veterans who are struggling with some of the things that they come back with after they've been in combat. So anyway, it's 22 push-ups a day for 22 days. On the reason it's 22 is on average every 22 seconds a veteran commits suicide. So that's something that needs to change in this country if you really want to get behind a good cause that pays homage and gives back to the people who serve our country and protect the freedoms that we enjoy today. That's definitely a good one. So I encourage everybody to go out there. Excuse me, go out there and look it up. 22 push-ups is what you should be able to find it out for. There's all kinds of organizations out there that benefit veterans. I think that this is a very, very good, authentic, genuine one as well. So I'm doing the challenge. So far I'm on day 3.
I didn't know it, but I was doing the challenge. You told me about it, and now I'm doing the challenge.
There you go. So we encourage everybody out there, if you feel so, to do that. It's very similar to how they did the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. This is something that comes around every single year. And again, you don't have to stop at 22 days. You can keep going as long as you want. Again, I think it's for a great cause. So again, ending on a positive note, apparently an updated figure since they started this challenge, that number is down to 20, which is still 20 too many, but at least it's going in the right direction.
That's right. Thanks for bringing that up, mentioning that.
Yep.
I'm always behind our veterans, our soldiers. They hold a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Gary. Appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate you playing the games with us and joining us in conversation. It's been great conversation too.
Has been, yeah.
Guys, I hope y'all stay safe out there. I hope that y'all have fun picking. And Gary, have a good one.
You too, Adam. Take care, man.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.